right, guys. First of all, thank you so much for taking the time. I'm so happy to see your faces and welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. This is fantastic. I guess I want to start from Amy's perspective. As I was watching the great job that they did on Channel 13 of the story, and you had gotten to a point where dialysis was no longer an option, correct?
That's right.
So were you, basically you didn't have very long to live at that point.
That's right.
Did they tell you how much time you had?
The nephrologist told me that without dialysis, I had about 4 or 5 months.
Wow.
At that point, had you talked to the folks at Channel 13?
Not at that point, no.
So how did that happen? Did you approach them? Did you know somebody? Yeah. How did it all come about?
My doctor said, you better get back on Facebook, because I had deleted my Facebook. And he's like, you better get back on there, and you got to find a living donor. And I tried that. I didn't get much. So I thought, okay, I got to do something bigger. And so I literally thought, I'm going to call WZZM. And I don't know why. It just came. I don't even watch that channel, really. I mean, I'm going to call them.
You do now. And you watch it now.
I watch it 24/7 now. I mean, it's always. But I called them. I left a real short message, just telling, like, I'm Amy McKay, and I've got this problem, and can you help me share my story? And literally the next day at 8 a.m., she calls me and she says, Amy, we're interested in your story. We'll be there in 1 hour. And it was on a Friday. And I was like, okay. And literally showed up in an hour. So I had, I was just like, I had no time to prep. I had no time to think about it. And I was just like, I'm just going to speak through the heart and say what the situation is. And I couldn't believe how fast she got it together. And it showed on the 5 o'clock news that night. And then they played it again on Sunday.
So from the period where you were told you've got 4 months to live till the broadcast that showed that story, how much time? Days? Couple days?
I would say a week.
Okay. So this happens very fast. This is the first little victory you've gotten in a long time at that point.
That's right. Okay.
Unbeknownst to you, the other member of this team, Scott Panawazik, is in his world. He sees this story. Scott, can you take me through how you absorbed this?
Well, I was in the process of liver donation to somebody else before the story. I even seen it, and
I didn't know that.
The woman called me pretty much, I think, the day before I seen Amy's story, and told me that unfortunately some woman had passed and her husband was at the hospital, and requested that her organs go to this lady's husband or this lady's father. So she called me and said, hey, we don't need anybody, because obviously an unfortunate incident brought life to him. So next morning, Amy's story, I'm up first thing in the morning on the couch, scrolling through Facebook. I seen her story, and we hit the ball running right after that. Monday morning, I called the number that was posted, and we've been going ever since.
Was that number with the transplant team, or did that go to Amy?
Well, unfortunately for her, they posted her number online, so it went directly to her.
They did. They posted my cell phone number on.
I imagine you had plenty of resources to direct Scott into the right spot. So when the phone rang, did you actually pick it up, Amy?
Actually, my friend was here, and she was screening my calls because I was getting flooded with calls.
Oh.
So my friend and she had talked to Scott, and then I don't know where I was, outside with the dog or something. And when I came back in, she's like, I got your guy. She's like, this is the one.
Wow.
And what? And then she gave me his number, and I called him right back and talked to him.
What, I guess I neglected, what time of the year was this? What year was it, and what month?
February. I seen it started February of
23.
23, right?
Yeah, 23. Yeah, just last February.
Yeah.
Okay.
Last February.
Okay. So that kicks into, now you've connected. Scott then, I'm assuming, begins a process of talking to the people who are in charge of your health. Now, so Scott, take me through that. I mean, then you have a litany of things that you have to do to see if you are the guy.
I actually, when I started the process with the kid or the liver, I actually just ordered a blood test off of Amazon for $10 because I didn't know my blood type at that time. And unfortunately, your doctors won't just do that. It's not something that's provided through insurance or anything. So $10 test is what it took. And I knew right out the gate, I had already matched her blood type from the article and from my blood test that I already took at home. And we started going through. I had to go to the doctor's office and they actually took a regular draw from them and tested it. And we were a match. And then I continued through the process and I kind of informed her as we went along a little bit at a time, not trying to get the hopes up too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, then, I mean, you've been through it. So we've started all the blood work.
Right.
Multiple amounts of blood work.
A lot of blood comes out of you. Now, Amy, a lot of times in the people I've spoken to, including the guy, my guy, is they have like moments where they start to like maybe they have some good feelings and then they crash and they have bad days where they think it's just not going to work. Did you experience that at all?
Of course. I mean, I was so hopeful that it was going to work, but you never know. And there were a couple other people that were also getting tested. And not until almost the end, one of the other persons said, they don't need me anymore. And I thought, what? And I was kind of concerned about that. But not until Scott told me that they asked him to pick a date for surgery was I having a weight lifted and feeling like, oh my gosh, this is really going to happen. Because I didn't want to get my hopes up because I wasn't sure. And I wasn't sure at any time he could back out or any time he could say, I don't want to do this. So I tried to, just stay like, I don't know if this is going to happen, but hopefully it will. So there were many times where I felt like, don't get your hopes up.
Being that you have a short window, you literally don't have much time.
That's right.
Were they concerned about this not happening quick enough, or did they fast track anything to make this happen?
They made sure that they checked my blood work every week, and I had more doctor's visits with the nephrologist. And as long as that number was stable, which my EGFR was an 8, which it's supposed to be 100. So that's how bad I was. It was at an 8. And they said, as long as it doesn't drop, you should be okay. But they were so excited when I finally told them that someone was getting tested for me and I'm possibly getting a living donor. And they were like, you're probably going to be able to do it. Because at that point, sleeping all the time, I just didn't feel good. I couldn't go up the stairs. I couldn't do anything.
My God. Scott, on your end, you've how much time from when you saw the video on Channel 13 to actual day of how much time are we talking about?
I think it was February 7th, I think is when it was first talked to her, somewhere around there. And then I donated July 10th. So about 5 months.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
As you went through this, you and I spoke a few times.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You seemed, when I was talking to you, like someone who's pretty even keel. So and that's one of the things that they look for is someone who, because it's a lot. It's a lot to kind of wrap your mind around.
There's a lot that goes into it. So the 8-hour day at the hospital, you meet with financial people, you meet with religious people, you meet with psychologists, all that, they want to make sure that you're the person to do it. So, and then, I kind of got a good scolding when I got there because I hadn't quit smoking at that point.
Oh yeah. They will beat your ass. They'll actually pull the plug on it.
Yeah,
right?
The doctor that was in there that I met with was whoever was supposed to do the surgery told me that I should not be sitting in that chair across from him at that point because I was still smoking. So he left the room. This was in March 22nd when I went for the 8-hour testing with them. He told me at that point he was going to make me wait 6 months before I could give it to her. I had to quit smoking. It was going to be 6 months. And then he left the room and came back and he told me, I'll tell you, if you stop, I'll go 3 months to the day. So I walked out there and I threw him in the trash right then, and I haven't touched him since. Wow.
Was it a thing where like he asked you, or did he find out through blood work that you?
No, he asked me, and I wasn't going to lie at this point. I mean, we're at the last point, so I'm not going to lie about it. Because the last thing I want to do is get there to the hospital, and because I have nicotine in me, God forbid they not be able to do this, and have her hooked up in the other room or whatever. Plus, I mean, it was a great thing for me to quit anyways. I smoked for too long as it was, and It's a disgusting habit.
There you go.
I wanted to make sure I mentioned this. ProjectDonor.org is the organization. They provided all the links, websites, and nicotine supplements, gum, lozenges, patches, anything I needed from the minute I walked out of that doctor's office for a whole nother year after surgery. They'll provide me with all that stuff. They also do it for weight loss. So if you're at the point where I've seen stories where the BMI is just a little too high, they will provide you a life coach, apps to lose weight, keep track of everything and everything. So that helped out amazingly.
Wow. ProjectDonor.org, you said.
Yep.
I'll include that in the notes of this for people.
Yeah, they were awesome. They sent me a gift on the day I got home from the hospital. I had $100 some edible arrangement sitting at the doorstep from them.
Okay. So, so in your world, Amy, you've got family and friends who are like, okay, this might be it. Can you take me through what they were feeling as the days pass by that you're getting close to this happening?
They were also super hopeful that, we were going to find that he was a match, and, trying not to get their hopes up too. My mom was really concerned, and she was like, is this really going to happen? Try not to get your hopes up too high. And my friends were just like, this would be such a godsend if it works. And, what a great guy that he's getting tested for you, that he's a stranger. And Scott kept texting me and giving me the green light, like, it's a green light, it's a green light. And I'm like, wow. And I thought this might happen. And so I just was telling everyone, I think it's going to go. I think it's going to happen. And so everybody.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
No, go ahead and finish your thought. I interrupted.
Everybody was so grateful to, not even know this man who is so willing to donate a kidney. And what are the odds that he is like a perfect match? And he lives in Michigan. I mean, it just, my mind when I think about it.
Scott,
yes.
Was the anxiety real high? Was it just a little bit? Was it pretty much everything kind of fell into place nicely?
Yeah, everything. It was amazingly smooth. I had one little hiccup. Actually, two. There was one time the lady put the blood work in the wrong color vials and they sent it off, so I had to go back for it. So that wasn't a big deal. But I did fail the protein test the first time. And this is like the last step through the process. You do a 24-hour urine test to check how your kidneys filter your protein through your body. And I failed it miserably when they called me on Monday. I seen the numbers on my phone before they even got in touch with me. And the lady was telling at the transplant place was saying, hey, you've seen the numbers. Obviously, that's it. And I'm like, are you serious? This is the last step. And she says, well, you can take it over because about 90% of the people fail the first time anyways. And I'm like, well, you probably could have led with that.
Yeah.
So it didn't help. I went to my cousin's barbecue the Saturday before I took the test and ate about 2 pounds of brisket. So that's what screwed up my protein levels. But I took it the next day and everything was perfect. So it was actually amazing how smooth everything went from start to the day we were in the hospital blood work matching and the mixing and everything. And just, I see too many stories where it's just one little hiccup and the whole thing can just kill everything. And, so it's amazing. It did.
The fact that the brisket nearly derailed the whole thing. My God.
It didn't even dawn on me at all.
Holy crap. Okay. So it's surgery day.
Yes, sir.
Now, you guys haven't seen each other face to face?
No.
At this point, you're in the same hospital, yes?
Yes.
And even though you're probably relatively close, like
we're on the floor, literally, like I think 4 rooms away from each other.
Yes.
As they're putting you on, had you ever been under before, Scott, for any type of medical procedure?
Yes, I've had surgery on my thumb and I had hip surgery before, so I've been under. It wasn't new to me.
So the guy who's putting you under, he explains what's happening, and then you feel loopy, and then the next thing you know, you're waking up, right?
Yes, sir. That's a done deal.
Take me through the feelings, because sometimes recovery is rough when you.
Yeah.
How did it go for you?
It wasn't too bad when I first got home. I went in on a Monday and they let me stay an extra day just because I have 3 kids at home. So the doctor was just like, screw it, hang out here for another day.
Yeah.
You might as well just get the rest. So I actually came home on a Thursday. I was all right. Friday, I wasn't bad. I think it was that Saturday. I had tried to get off the medication and eat a little bit too much. And I woke up the next morning and I was ready to have the ambulance come and take me back down to the hospital.
No. Yep.
And I was crying to my wife of why in the hell did I do this to myself? I don't even know this person. I'm like, why did I do this? Why did I put myself through all this pain? And I took some meds and some other stuff, and I passed out, and I was fine after that. So it was one rough day.
That pain will do that. It'll make you. Oh no, this is terrible. Now, but you pulled through, and then off you go, and then you're happy as can be, and so happy that you've done it. Amy, from your standpoint, you wake up, and doctors are very, very impressed with the ability of Scott's kidney to assimilate to you. Isn't that right?
That's right. They were shocked. They said that they'd really never seen that before, how it started working immediately. And my numbers, I mean, they checked my blood work before I went in for surgery. And once I was out of surgery, my blood work was like 100%. And they said that usually it takes, 4 or 5 days. Sometimes people have to go on dialysis. They warned me of all of this, it might not take. And, just so you know, you might have to go back on dialysis. And I'm like, oh boy, and then they were like, nope, everything's like working tenfold. They were just so amazed.
And pretty much after the recovery process ended, was it just business as usual? You just got back to living, yes?
Well, yes, but there is side effects to the medication because I have to take those anti-rejection meds.
Right.
So I've had some, low blood pressure, high blood sugar issues. So I can't, I'm still not back to work, but overall, I feel great though.
Wow.
So it took a little time. I mean, it's been what, 4 months?
Yep. It is gonna take a little time to get.
Yeah, that's a major surgery, so it's gonna take a little time. But I mean, overall, I'm just so grateful and feel so much better than I did before I went into surgery.
So that obviously saved your life, and not only just to hear the story and kind of hear it from beginning to end from you guys who experienced it and how this all came to be. That's a wonderful story. But it's also super important to remind people that, for when you hear something like what Scott heard and he said, you know what? Hey, that's me. This is so important for people to, maybe get a little bit uncomfortable, act outside the box and do something like this. Scott, can you tell them how this, I don't want to say it's easy to do it, but.
No, it's not, but it's hard to say it like you said, because you've done it, it is easy to do it because it's some pokes and prods for a couple weeks. You can save somebody's life. You've got 2 of them. You can function perfectly fine. I did the research. I read articles. I watched videos, all kinds of stuff beforehand. I made sure I knew what I was getting into ahead of time. You can live perfectly normal with one functioning kidney. It'll pick up the pace of whatever the other one's not there for you with. And a couple of days of recovery to have someone hug you and say you saved their life. There's no other feeling besides having children in this world that you're ever going to get that feeling from. So, it's not, I never even knew before this that you could even donate while you were alive, to be honest with you. And I never had it on my license or anything. So for this, it's life-changing, and I would do it in a heartbeat all over again. No problem.
That is absolutely fantastic to hear. Have your families kind of met over time, like your significant others and families?
Yeah, my wife was obviously at the hospital with us and my son, and then they were couple of them were at the Gift of Life celebration at John Ball. So she met my oldest and my youngest, and then her parents have been over at the house. They brought over a gift basket shortly after the surgery. I've been back over to her house when we did the interview and everything. So she's a part of the family now.
Right.
My God. Yeah. What was that like when you, because like you indicated, you guys didn't actually come face to face until well after the surgery, right?
The day I was getting discharged is when we met. She was still hooked up to the IV and everything. So
that was a couple days after the actual surgery.
Yep.
What was that? Was it weird? Was it, because some people, it's still a new person that you're meeting, or did you just, because you had spoken on the phone? Yes.
Yes.
Texted and spoke a couple times and everything. So, I mean, we knew each other through just the messaging, and, we give a little bit more details once it got closer and closer, and I knew it was going to divulge a little more. Because, again, like I said, I don't want to get too far or too high of hopes of things, and I'm not going to put out all my personal business before I know if we're going anywhere with this. But yeah, as soon as I seen her, came down to that hug, it was like an instant connection. It was meant to be. It was meant to happen.
Yes, for sure.
My God. And, you, as we talk about this, there might be someone who, it might strike them in a particular way that, hey, maybe, don't dismiss that. You know how oftentimes we hear little things, or maybe like there's something in our brain that's our little spider sense is going off about particular things. Thank God Scott listened when he heard that call. So that I can't stress enough to don't dismiss that voice that you may hear in your head. And you can chalk that up to religion. I did. And I don't know. I mean, it's to each person, it's different. Who knows? But at the end of the day, that decision you make, you can have an Amy on the receiving end of it. So,
right.
Exactly.
It's pretty amazing.
What about the folks from Channel 13? I know they did a follow-up story, and they have, I mean, they are very instrumental in this. Had they not answered that call, this wouldn't be,
That's right. I mean, I can't say thank you enough to WZZM for picking up the story and getting on it so quickly, showing it twice in a weekend. I mean, that got a lot of publicity out there, and it truly was instrumental in Scott seeing the story and saving my life. So it's just incredible.
So awesome.
Yeah, because I would never have searched it out. I would never have gone on.
Right.
I didn't even know there's an organ donor registry that you could go on when you're alive like that. So I would never have done that had I not seen the other person's story beforehand. And that was just delivered. This one was a kidney, and I started reading it, and I'm like, hey, you can do this. You can be perfectly fine. And why not? That's my thing. It's like, why not? Why, if I've got two, all she needs is one of them to go through it. So
do you, are you different now, Scott? Sometimes people, after they go through this, they maybe see the world a little differently. Have you picked up on any of that?
Nah, it's just maybe that there's a lot more people are going through than you can actually realize, because nobody knows, looking at any of us three walking down the street, that either one of us have had a surgery or had that situation going on or lived through this or anything like that. So I just try to be more open to everything out there now.
Okay. You guys are fantastic. I'm so glad we connected. I'm glad we connected at the zoo at Gift of Life, at that Gift of Life event. That was awesome. I mean, it all worked out because I happened to be speaking at the time, and there you guys were. I was like, oh my God. So got to introduce you to the people. So
yeah, and it was crazy to see that you posted your story back in February. When I seen that, has anybody ever woke up with that crazy notion just to donate an organ to somebody? I'm like, what in the hell are the chances that you would put this on there and I would happen to just see it that morning and reach out to you? And I'm like, how, it's just, there's so many things that all just worked out this way.
So wait a minute. I had posted something at about this same time that you had seen.
I was actually up north in Leelanau when I seen it. It was back in February, right when I first started this process. You posted a question on Facebook that said, "Hey, has anyone ever woke up and just decided to donate an organ or something along those lines?"
Yeah,
you had a picture of you and the person that your recipient.
Yeah,
a split screenshot of it or whatever, and it said, "Reach out to you." And I reached out to you like that day or the next day through Facebook, and the rest is history.
And that was all when this was starting. That's incredible. Oh my God.
That was like that was right after I just actually had talked to her and started the process. So for it to go from there to where we're sitting now is just amazing.
Right.
All right. Well, continued, health as you continue to improve, Amy.
Yes. Thank you.
And best to your families and best to you. It's just a wonderful story. I'm so thankful that this happened.
Yes, me too.
Okay, guys. Well, yeah, let's stay friends, and we'll connect again down the road, I'm sure. So thanks for taking the time, and I appreciate you guys so much for being here.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Best of luck. Talk to you.